Hello again, folks, and welcome to another edition of Integral Trends. I am Mike Grogan from IntegralOrg. This is our ongoing series looking at the trends and dynamics that impact the way we operate and plan for and govern our nonprofits and charities. Today, we're going to talk about some shifts in giving. We're going to talk about some of the shorter term dynamics we've seen coming out of the COVID pandemic, but more importantly, some of the longer term shifts we're seeing in charitable giving and how they may impact charities moving forward. And we're going to draw from a body of work from Canada Helps. This is the Canada Helps Giving Report. This is the 22 report, came out a couple months ago. I think a fantastic set of information on an annual basis that comes out, unpacking both some of those trends from donors, but also from the nonprofit side as to what's happening with philanthropic support for charities. The shorter term shifts we're seeing, I think are probably a surprise to no one. That Canada Helps projects a 12% decline in donations from 2019 to 2021. This unfortunately adds a bit of a nudge to that longer term trend we're seeing in charitable donations, as we've seen less people participating in giving to charities over the last 20 or 30 years, perhaps, but certainly in the last 15 or so, really acutely. And we're seeing this really clearly through participation rates. Over the last few decades, giving participation rates have declined substantially. And we're seeing major shifts in both the structure, style, and the amount of giving. And really the heart and soul of it is that across all demographics, all age groups, we're seeing people give less and less. So whether you're under 25, boomers up to the 55 and above, every demographic is giving less. Sometimes just a few percent less, sometimes 5 or 6% less. But over the last 15 years or so, people across every age cohort are giving less to charities than they did before. Going back further than this, you'd see this as probably a 20 or 30 year trend that less people claim a donation on their tax return year after year after year. We see also too that the donations are highly concentrated in those who are 55 and above. Not a surprise here. People starting out in their careers have less disposable income under 25, up even to under 40. We're seeing that there's just less ability to give. But as you get older, perhaps the wealth has increased, your income has increased, and we're seeing that you can give more as you get older. The challenge with this, though, is that age cohort is going to move on sometime, and they will drop off. And there's not necessarily another cohort who understands giving in the same way as that 55 and above group. And Canada Helps refers to this as the giving gap. We've heard of this concerning trend as a giving gap, where current trends point to a major shortfall in funding for charities when these older donors are no longer able to give. And perhaps true for every time period that each generation understands and engages giving in a different way. But what we're seeing now is that major shift in the structure of one of the main components of charitable giving. And while there may be areas that we all understand giving, or the causes or the ways that we give, there are some causes that attract support across all demographics and all age groups. Canada Helps breaks out a set of data on where people would prefer to give, the causes that they would prefer to give to across different age cohorts. And things like mental health are very consistent, that every age group is very supportive of mental health giving. But when you move into different age groups, you see that some causes resonate more. Obviously, that for seniors care, advocacy support, very highly rated. Perhaps if you're younger, those things aren't really top of mind for you. Conversely, racial inequality, supporting racialized or marginalized groups, really important for 18 to 24-year-olds, but drops off significantly as you get older. And this is one of the things I think we're seeing. It's not just the amount of giving, the style of giving, the types of organizations that receive funding from donors are really going to change. Realizing this, though, that donations still are an important and impactful element of nonprofit funding models. There still are billions out there. 10 to 11 billion dollars a year is a significant amount of money. It can do a tremendous amount of good. The mechanisms for giving and the causes that attract donations are shifting and will continue to shift. This is not a situation where we're trying to get back to the way things were before COVID. This ship was on a course well before COVID. COVID has perhaps exacerbated some of those trends and magnified some of them, but it is not going to go back to something where there is an increasing amount of money unless something happens. And that's probably the nudge that we need to think about is, What nudges the ship back in a different direction? Is there a policy alternative? Is there some incentivization for charitable giving that we're missing right now? Because the trend we're on right now takes us to a place where that giving gap, that shortfall, will continue and become increasingly problematic for charities and nonprofits. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you again on our next edition of Integral Trends.